I think we're close. I think we're close. So today's topic is going to be talking about stress. Lower stress, better life. And yes, I cannot think of a more stressful situation than trying to get something to work on a computer with 50 people staring at you. So how appropriate. Are we good, Mike?
Maybe.
Maybe? Okay.
We're closer.
We're closer. It's there. We don't have any of that. We have chocolate, but no Prosecco. It's the world's slowest computer. It's so slow.
And then okay, yeah, maybe it just doesn't want to do that final view. Yeah, I'll see if I can just go through the slides the way they are. Potentially.
Do you want to hold the microphone if you want?
I can use this one. This one should be fine.
Don't touch me.
What a blast. I know.
And
well,
this
now
is,
I'm hoping I can just scroll from here.
Right? Can you? My God.
Oof, yeah, it's a bit slow. So I think... But...
It's working.
It looks like it's working if I just keep it here.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Can you guys see the images okay here? We're having trouble making it full screen.
Have a slideshow option?
Slideshow option? Okay, let's see. From the beginning. Hey!
Wasn't me. All right. Yay. Yay. We're here. Yeah. Thank you. We have Dr. Mike Paquette here from MCR Chiropractic, and he's going to talk about lowering our stress level and having a better life.
Well, now that this is all set up, my stress levels are much lower.
Way down,
We're feeling a lot better.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is an advanced stress workshop that's been put together by MCR Chiropractic. We have a bunch of locations. We got one in Walpole, Westwood, Norwood, Rentham. They're all over the place if you ever need any chiropractic care. All right, so let's have a little chat today about stress. Let's see if I can scoot this way. All right, so stress is a massive problem, as you guys are probably aware. The statistics don't lie. So 77% of people experience stress that affects their physical health, and then 73% that affect their mental health. So these things, we'll talk about this more, but these things go hand in hand, both physical and mental. They're intertwined in a lot of different and interesting ways. 48% of people have trouble sleeping because of stress. The vast majority of our illnesses and disease are estimated to be stress-related. And the list goes on from there. But just to give you a general idea that stress is real and people do experience it. What do you guys know about stress? So here's a little question for you. Which is not a common effect of stress? Would anyone like to be brave and take a wild guess? Yes.
Diabetes? I think they're all stressed. I think they all are. Right. There you go. Right, Doctor? It's a trick question.
So all of them do pertain to stress. All of them do have a stress component, I would say sciatica has the least stressful component. That would be more mechanical, having to do with your lower back and the nerves that get compressed in the lower back there, causing sciatica. The three categories of stress, these are big, and we're going to touch on these throughout the presentation, are physical stress, emotional stress, and chemical stress. What chiropractors refer to this as are traumas, toxins, and thoughts. So this is the 3 T's is what we call it, is what we refer to them as. So what do these fall into? So is a motor vehicle or a sports injury, is that a trauma, a toxin, or a thought? What type of stress is it? Beautiful. All right, we're awake, we're awake. Sugary diet, is that a trauma, a toxin, or a thought? Toxin. Beautiful. Smoking. Beautiful. Posture. So trauma, toxin, or thought?
Posture, that would be trauma.
Good, trauma. Excessive worry. Good. Money. Nice. Thought. You guys got that quick too. Nice. Love it. All right. We're going to touch on the vagus nerve going forward. There are more slides on it later. That's a good one. That's a good one. How stress affects the body. So when you have increased stress, you're going to have increased cortisol production. That's the primary stress hormone. You'll hear people say, oh, my cortisol levels are off the charts. So that's the primary stress hormone. When you have increased cortisol, you're going to also have increased blood pressure, potentially cholesterol, some clotting factors, inflammation, pain, all things we see with more stress. And then this is really great here. So this breaks down all the different areas here. I think the one to touch on here is definitely cardiovascular. So we see the higher cholesterol, the high blood pressure, increased risk of heart attack and stroke. That's the one that we see a lot of coming in, is how stress will eventually manifest itself. All right. Symptoms are body signals, your body's way of asking for help. Are you listening? So do we understand the metaphor here and what's going on? So the top of the iceberg here, these are typically your symptoms at the top of the iceberg, but what's actually going on inside your body is way more complicated than that. There are a lot of different processes going on inside your body that are contributing to your stress, and they're only showing 1 or 2 signs usually. All right. What do symptoms say about your health? So if we start in the middle here, is this cursor working? Oh, beautiful. So if we start in the middle here at the neutral point, your stress and your health can go one of 2 ways. Normally people tend to stay around the middle. If we start going to the left a bit more, we start getting some signs. So, oh, okay, I'm starting to feel a little stressed out. And then we start to get some symptoms. Okay, elevated heart rate. It's difficult for me to breathe. It's, it might be hard to get up in the morning, things like that. Over time, if we don't address these things, the symptoms turn to disability. And this is where it starts to get more severe. Moving on to the other side of this arrow here, the more positive, happy side of the arrow, awareness. So this is where I like to have most of my patients is within the first couple of visits, we talk a lot about what are your triggers, what we identify the stress markers that are going on with each patient. And then from there, we educate. So how can we actually elicit change and make sure that we can reduce our stress? And then growth. And then from there, once we identify the triggers and we educate, then we can grow and we can achieve our highest levels of wellness. This is good. So you don't get sick, you do sick. So a lot of patients will come to me and they'll say, I've just been feeling awful the past couple of weeks, and I'm looking to turn things around. And this is not them getting sick. This is them doing sick, being sick, choosing to do things that are making them a bit more sick over time. So these are things that you want to look out for in your daily life, right? So are you getting enough exercise each day? The current recommendation is 30 minutes of moderate exercise every day. So brisk walk, cycling, whatever that may be. Are you staying on top of that? Are you eating okay? Are you getting enough fruits and vegetables? Are you absorbing the nutrients that you eat, right? Are you supplementing with vitamins and minerals? So you don't necessarily get sick, you do sick over time. And same thing here. You don't get healthy, you do healthy. So the aforementioned things, are you staying on top of those things? Are you choosing to do healthy? All right. Better outcomes start with a better premise. Absolutely. So healthy is normal. Your body is smart. Your body is very, very smart. Nervous system is the master system that's going to control especially your stress levels. Your spine is your suit of armor. So I wish I had a spine here to show you, but your vertebrae, they house and they protect your spinal cord and your nervous system. So your spine is actually like a suit of armor inside your body. And just modern life is unnaturally stressful. We have technology being one of the things. So just make sure you're aware of that. Try to identify those triggers as early as you can and stay educated about that. All right. Two sides of the same coin. So reducing our stress and increasing our tolerance. Choose your attitude. So the power of positivity. This is a big one. You can choose your attitude every day, which I'm sure you've experienced before. If you wake up and you say, I'm amazing, I'm happy, everything is fine, it can actually be fine, which is an amazing phenomenon that goes on inside our lives. So choose your attitude. Connection, acceptance, respect, unconditional love, and grace. This is a challenging one, unconditional love especially, because it is a lot easier to judge and to hate, but it takes a lot more power to love. Headspace to thrive. So meditation. And this, you don't have to be a yogi or a spiritual leader or a guru to do meditation every day. Just basic deep breathing exercises in through the nose, out through the mouth on a daily basis is going to be really good for you. Something like this in combination with 30 minutes of moderate exercise per day will change your outcomes. And sleep to thrive. This is a really big one too, especially as we get older, we tend to lose some of our ability to sleep. So protecting your rhythm, making sure that you are going to bed and waking up at a consistent schedule each day. This is a challenging one, but definitely prioritize this. Getting up early. I like to rise with the sun personally. I know people who sleep until 10, 11 in the morning, but that's not the way I do things. I think it's important to get up nice and early. Take naps throughout the day too. Let's see. Don't overcommit and check your expectations. This is a tricky one. Don't spread yourself too thin. I know a lot of people want to be everything for everybody all the time, but you got to take care of yourself first. So make sure you check your expectations. Eat to thrive. So never go hungry. Fill yourself with healthy foods. So we talked about this briefly before too. Make sure you're getting enough fruits and vegetables, lean meats. So fish is great for you. Chicken is great for you. Red meat on occasion, totally fine. The battle is won at the register, right? So try not to go through those aisles and get all that junk food that tastes so good for 2 seconds, and that's about it. Don't drink your calories and avoid the white stuff. So just meaning refined carbohydrates and sugar, exactly. All right, so unlimited veggies, lean cuts of meat, eggs. Eggs are great. Fruits, nuts, seeds. Yeah, all things that are on this earth that have been here all along. Just eat that stuff. Supplement to thrive, probiotics, vitamin D, fish oil and omega-3 fatty acids in particular are important. Vitamin D, very important for absorbing all of those nutrients that you take in. These are the top 10 highest foods here with omega-3 fatty acids. If you're going to learn anything at all today, and if you can incorporate anything into your diet, this is going to be it. Anything you see here that you think you might enjoy, I would definitely take a note of it and start incorporating it into your diet. Flax seeds, chia seeds, fish, walnuts, tofu, shellfish, canola oil, all of these things. Yeah, these are all superfoods, really high in the omega-3 fatty acids, the good fats that you want to be consuming here. Do we have any questions on this slide at all?
Does shellfish just mean oysters?
No, so I think oysters are the highest content. Yeah.
One question.
Yep.
The last, I think it was one of the last slides you had, it said E-fast.
I think that meant to say intermittent fasting. but it might have been a typo. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Does it make a difference if you take it in pill form or food form? Like vitamin D, would a pill supplement be as good as food vitamin D?
Yeah, it's a good question. So normally we don't get enough vitamin D naturally occurring in our foods, so we need to supplement on top of it with a pill.
Can I say something about that?
Yeah.
Lately, I heard that just vitamin D is not enough. You should also have vitamin K. What is the story about that?
All vitamins. You should be taking a multivitamin that gets you a little bit of everything. The significance of vitamin D is that it helps to absorb other vitamins. That's why I would recommend a multi, and then I would recommend a vitamin D that you take at the same time. So, sure.
On the fish oil, is it true that it is better if you take twice a day, one in the morning and one late in the afternoon? In your system longer?
That's a good question. I think it's going to depend on the dosage there. I think if you were to take, I'm not sure the exact numbers, but I think if you were to take a lower dose, then you'd want to take it multiple times a day as opposed to a higher one. I would think so. I'd have to look that up to be honest with you. But yes. Sure, absolutely.
On the fish oil, does that interfere with clotting if you're on blood thinners?
That is a really good question as well.
Some of them, like garlic and all, you can't take them
Yeah.
on blood thinners.
We'll come back to that at the end a little bit. Yeah, let me go through here. Okay, so the traumas, toxins, and thoughts again. So we had touched on this briefly before here. Macro trauma. This doesn't look fun. So this is an example of a macro trauma. So a macro trauma is something larger scale, like falling down a flight of stairs, and we're going to get to the other kind, which is micro trauma. And then the other macro traumas that I see in my office all the time are, bending over to rake the leaves, shovel the snow, and you get the twinge in the back, and then it all falls apart from there. So that's a really common one. These are all examples of macro trauma. And then micro trauma. And we're seeing this more and more nowadays with everyone on their phones, on their tablets, right? So something like posture and the way that we use our technology is an example of a micro trauma. Sitting is the new smoking. Really not great for you. This guy is just not doing it. I mean, look at his back. Nope. That's not going to work. So I always recommend sit-stand desks for all my patients if they can if they can purchase it, because you got to take breaks from prolonged sitting and standing. You got to move your body each and every day as much as you can. As soon as you get too sedentary, things stiffen up and it gets harder to move. All right, so we're going to briefly talk on subluxation. What is a subluxation? Subluxation is a bit of an older term, but it's a term that chiropractors still use a lot. The one that I like to use is right down here, so joint misalignment. So sometimes what happens through macro traumas, micro traumas, through the traumas, the toxins, the thoughts, everything we talked about, your joints in your spine can become misaligned. So an example of this, a mechanism of this is if you are on your phone all day and you got your neck forward like this, it's going to cause over time some misalignments there in your neck. And it can also strain the soft tissues as well. It can cause inflammation, sometimes nerve irritation, where you get that nerve pain that goes from the shoulder down into the arms, or it starts in the lower back and it can go down into the leg. No fun. Muscle spasms, joint fixations. So this is when the joint is locked in a certain position that it's not supposed to be in, which prevents it from moving. And stress hormone production can also cause it as well. All right. Yep. So it causes nerve irritation and interference. And then it becomes harder over time to adapt to stress, because this is all directly affecting your nervous system again. So what we see here on the right side, this looks like an X-ray, and we have our vertebral bodies here. So we're looking from the side here, in case anyone's wondering. This is a lateral image here. And you can see all the bones here. Then you can see the little spinous processes sticking out through here. And then you guys can see my mouse, right? Okay. And the spaces, these little sliver spaces, this is where the disc is, these disc spaces, which act as shock absorbers between the bones. So that's where those are. Yeah, right through here. All right, and then it's circling this one area here, so we can see a bit of degeneration here. So when we look at the disc spaces, do you guys see where my mouse is? Do you see how these disc spaces between the bones are nice and healthy right here? A lot of space. And then we come down and you see how there's not a lot of space going on here. So this is an example of degeneration and a joint misalignment or a subluxation that can occur here. All right, problem, cause, symptom, stress, misalignment, joint subluxation. And then you start to get the pain and the sickness, the headaches and things like that you get later on. So I think the moral of the story here is there's a lot that happens before you actually get the symptoms. Usually something like pain is one of the last indicators of dysfunction. So this is another important point, another takeaway. If you guys are going to take anything away, is that if you have a symptom of something, it usually means there's a whole process that's been going on long before the symptoms actually occurred. So make sure to get that checked out. All right, chiro first. So who supports it? Chiropractic has come a long way. There's a lot of great evidence out there for chiropractic care now. Specifically in the 90s, there's been a lot of great research that came out about the efficacy of chiropractic for lower back pain and for neck pain. Just straight ahead, those things. That chiro is a great conservative option for that. It's one of your first lines of defense. So definitely seek out chiro care if you need it. Adjust to thrive. So we talked about this before briefly. Let's see. Stress causes the subluxations, and then the subluxations or the joint misalignments then start to cause those symptoms. Yes?
Why do people get shorter as they get older? Isn't it?
Yeah, so it's long story short, it's gravity wears you down over time, and it starts to consolidate your bones and your joints and starts to degenerate things over time. Your spine, yeah, so it actually shrinks you down. So it's based on trauma usually. Yeah, so if there's a trauma response, or it could be congenital as well. It depends on the patient. All right, let's see. Okay, cool. So if you guys were to come into a chiropractic office, this is pretty much the rundown of what we would do for you here. All right, so if you were to come see me, we'd start with a consultation. So we'd go through all your health history together and talk about your life and your journey and what's going on with you. Your goals of care, this is really important. So a lot of people miss this one. What's something that you're unable to do now because of your back pain or your neck pain? And people will say, oh, I can't play pickleball anymore. I can't garden anymore. And we always make that a priority and a trajectory as we go forward in the plan of care. Then we do an examination. So I'll take you through all the nitty gritty stuff. So range of motion, posture, orthopedic and neurological exam. We might do some functional tests depending on what you come in with, and then also imaging too. Normally, if somebody has that numbness and tingling sometimes that starts either in the neck or the back and goes into your extremity, then we'll talk about an MRI or something if needed. Education, so your plan of care. So how often are we going to see you? What are our expected results? And then lifestyle and habits as well. This is a big one. I always try to touch on this with all my patients, making sure that you're exercising, that you're breaking your bad habits, goes a long way, because I can't treat you when you're at home, right? I can only treat you for a certain amount of time when you're at the office. So we have to make sure that you get everything you need outside of the office as well. And then the timeline is described as episodic, correctional. So we're going to correct whatever joint misalignment we find, maintenance care, and then wellness. And then, so then patients around the maintenance and wellness stage of care, patients will see me once a month, once every other month, just to check in and get a tune-up. I like to compare it to getting your teeth cleaned or getting your eyes checked. It's very, very similar to that, and it is your spine. After all, it's a very important part of your body, so always important to get that checked. And again, breaking the bad habits, I like to add exercises, and then we do the adjustments and rhythm. And this is in my office, so this is more so what it looks like here. So we start people out a bit more intensely, right? We want to get you better faster. We're not going to waste anyone's time. So we start out more intensive. And then after a little while, we go into the corrective phase. And then after that, we go into the wellness stage. And this whole time we're doing what's called progress exams or reevaluations. So we're going in and we're checking and we're seeing, are we getting the desired results that we need? How are our functional outcomes looking? All right, I think we're going to get into the vagus nerve now. Okay, so vagus nerve is pretty amazing. As you can see, it innervates so much of our body all through here: lungs, bronchi, heart, liver, spleen, stomach. It's one of the most important cranial nerves. They're all important, but this one is very important because it innervates so much of our organs in our body. If your vagus nerve is healthy, if you have a higher vagal tone, then it's going to lower your risk of heart disease and stroke, help lower your blood pressure, and digest food better. However, if it's lower, then we start talking about the higher risk of heart disease and stroke. CFS, I actually don't know what that stands for. Depression and diabetes. Cerebrospinal fluid would be CSF. So I'm not sure what that's it. How to increase your vagal tone. So a couple of important things you can do. Removing the postural spinal irritation. So I always do a postural analysis on all my patients too, making sure your shoulders are up and back, making sure your neck is back. All right. Especially with technology nowadays, everyone's like this all the time. So try and keep yourself back, nice and relaxed. Eating good food, again, whole grains, colorful fruits, vegetables like we talked about before, prebiotics and probiotics, the omega-3 fatty acids, which we're going to touch on at the end. Intermittent fasting, that's pretty good. Cold showers, therapy, singing, humming, exercising, and deep breathing exercises. So you don't have to do all these things per se, but just incorporating a couple of these things each day is going to help to increase that vagal tone, which stimulates all of these organs through here. All right, so this is a recommendation. Start your day the Vegas way. So you can do a 20 to 30 minute workout focusing on your breathing. I recommend this to everybody. End with 1 to 2 minutes of breathing exercises. Hum or sing while you're in the shower. We all have our favorite shower song that we like to sing, so don't be afraid. Let it happen. And brush your teeth lightly. Stimulate your gag reflex while you're brushing your teeth, and make sure to gargle as well. That helps with vagal tone too. And then adjustments, chiropractic adjustments. A couple other ways: massage, acupuncture, biofeedback, and therapy. Depending on the patient, I do recommend some of these different therapies in conjunction with chiropractic care, depending on what the patient needs. If they have really tight muscles, or if they have a lot of stress going on, a lot of psychological stress going on in their life, we might recommend therapy. Wow, this guy is stuck. Your problems will go away if you ignore them. True or false? All right. Stress, joint misalignment or subluxation, and then the symptoms start to appear after that. All right. So this is what we do in our office. How do you know if you have a joint misalignment or a subluxation? We'll do different types of testing for you. Orthopedic tests, motion palpation. This is a big one. So what I do is I'll take all of your joints that are attached to your spine. I'll take them through a range of motion, and I'll see how they're behaving. And you can feel individually between each segment which motion segments are not moving properly. So that's a big one in terms of diagnosis: motion palpation. Static palpation, posture. We can get a lot from posture nowadays, especially. And then imaging if it's appropriate. All right. Get evaluated, get screened. These are all the QR codes for the company. And that is all I have for you today. So thank you for bearing with me, and hope you guys enjoyed the presentation. Okay. Hi. Yeah. Yes.
Is there anyone who should not be a candidate?
Yes, excellent question. So there are contraindications to chiropractic care. Absolutely. So if you do have high blood pressure that is unmanaged by medication, then you should not get chiropractic care. If you have high blood pressure that is managed and it's under control, you're totally fine. But what happens is sometimes when you get adjusted, your blood pressure will drop rapidly. It's a normal response to a chiropractic adjustment. It's very relieving. It makes very quick, sudden changes to your nervous system, so it can cause a drop in your blood pressure. If you have high blood pressure and it drops, it could cause syncope or fainting. So we have to be careful for that. So that's something that you want to watch out for. And then the other big one would be osteoporosis. So you want to be careful of that as well. If you have brittle bones, or you got a recent scan and you know that your bones are not as healthy as they can be, then chiropractic care is probably not right for you. Just because we do make those quick thrusting motions onto the spine. And when we do that, there is a slight risk for fracture or for further damage if you have osteoporosis. All right.
Does Medicare cover the visits?
It's a great question. Medicare covers the adjustments. Yes, Medicare, for some reason unbeknownst to me, does not cover the initial examination. So that's usually out of pocket. It's very unfortunate, and no, and I've been fighting it too to try and get them to come around. But it does cover the adjustments. Yeah.
So how much would the evaluation be?
So for for MCR Chiropractic, the initial evaluation is $125. Yeah, which is not bad. Usually with images, it gets more expensive, but we don't do images in-house, so we're able to keep our costs down, and it's about $125. Yes. You're afraid of it. Great question. Yeah, that is one of the big barriers. No, it's one of the big barriers, so thank you for bringing that up. And definitely, if you're ever going to go to a chiropractor and you're apprehensive in whatever way, say, hey, I'm a little bit nervous about this, and they will adjust accordingly. They're not going to make any big, quick thrusting motions or do any body slams on you or anything like that. They will adjust, and they will be soft, and they will be gentle to start out, and they will slowly introduce the adjusting to you. That's my philosophy is what is adjusting? Okay, another good question. Yeah, so when you have those joint misalignments like we talked about before, the adjustment helps to fix or realign the joints. So we make a very high velocity, low amplitude thrust into the spine, which helps to realign the joint. Sometimes you get some popping and some cracking associated with that, which is perfectly normal. It's actually very relieving if you've never had it done before. Yeah, it does. It feels really, really great. So you know. So, all right. Any other questions? I'm going to do some research on the omega-3 fatty acids and fish oil questions that we had, because I need to get up to date on that a bit more. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming. And well, I'm so sorry.
I was going to say, how about asking who in this group has had an adjustment to help alleviate your fear?
Sure. Yeah. Has anyone experienced chiropractic care before in the past? Okay. Actually, about half. Yeah.
Me walking until I could have my hip replaced.
That's excellent. Good.
Believe me, or I would not have been able to.
Yeah. Yeah. We do a lot of preventative care. Yeah. People come in and this will happen frequently too. People will say, oh, I was recommended to do surgery very soon. And they'll come and they'll start getting treated, and we're able to push back that surgery more and more and help people live healthier lives before they have to go under the knife. So yeah, just really, really great outcomes. Absolutely.
Does chiropractic care, is it just limited to the back? Like, for instance, with me, for some reason, and I'm very active, I walk around and everything, but it seems that whenever I sit for a long time, or especially when I get up in the morning, it's like it hurts to get up because my knees hurt me.
Sure.
Is that something that chiropractic care can do something? I don't know what causes it.
It's a great question. Yeah, it's not just limited to the spine. So I've worked on everything. Anything that has a joint in your body, we can realign and we can adjust and we can help alleviate symptoms. So yeah, knees, ankle, feet, elbows, wrists, shoulders. So fingers, toes, everything. Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry. I'm just going to get her really quick. I'll be right with you. For chiropractic care, not always. No. Nope. It's different from physical therapy. Physical therapy you usually need a script from your primary, but for, it depends on your insurance as well. But for chiro, usually not. Yes.
How do you treat tingling in the arms?
Tingling in the arms?
If it is not cardiac related.
Sure. Yeah. So most of the time, tingling in the arms will originate from the neck, is normally where it comes from. But sometimes it can come from the shoulder or the elbow. What we would need to figure out with the arm tingling is where is the nerve being entrapped that's causing the tingling itself. So we would take you through a whole examination process for that. So what is the treatment for that?
No, I say you do treatment for that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep. Yes.
Is there any treatment for neuropathy?
Yes. Related to diabetes or no?
No.
No? Yep, that's something we can look at as well. It's a very similar situation where we need to figure out where the nerve is being entrapped, because if you're getting that numbness and tingling in your feet, the nerve is not behaving properly. So it can get in, yes.
It's in 2 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Does that matter? Does it always come?
That can change things. Yeah, that can change things a bit. That could potentially be a diabetic neuropathy, so I would definitely look into that. Yes.
In 1960, I was in nurses training. I had a horrible laryngitis. My cousin's uncle was a chiropractor, but he could only practice in Rhode Island, and that was only years, later that they came here. So I was getting ready to go back to school, and he said, "Sit down for a minute." He adjusted my neck, and believe me, it cleared my throat.
Yeah, I've heard all kinds of amazing stories, and these are not things that I would ever claim or would ever advertise. However, in my experience, I've heard that people can hear better, people can see better, people can digest better, people have less allergy responses. I've seen it all. I'm not going to go around advertising it, but I've absolutely seen it. And it's pretty amazing what happens when you take pressure off of the nervous system, the things that can heal in your body. It's pretty amazing.
Where in Walpole are you located?
So right on, let's see, I believe it's called Main Street. Yeah, right on Main Street. Yep, that one. Yeah, Mass Sport and Spine, exactly. Yep, right in that plaza there. So, yeah, absolutely. So, okay. Cool. All right, well, thank you, everyone.